what that means. It's time for another episode of Against the Wall. Here we go. So today we're looking in the book of 1 Samuel, and we're looking at chapter 20, verse 25. Let me read it to you and then we'll get into it. It says, "Now the king sat on his seat, as at other times, on a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side. But David's place was empty." So, kind of give you the background of what's going on here. Saul's doing a feast of celebration during the new moon, and David should be there. But David kind of tags up with Jonathan, his buddy, who is Saul's son, and they come up with this, well, they come up with a lie to keep David away, because David knows Saul's trying to kill him. But anyway, they come up with this plan, and so Saul's sitting there, and notices that David's spot's empty. And he's like, well, maybe he's unclean, because if you were ceremonially unclean, you couldn't take part in the feast. So no big deal. But the next day, it happens again. And of course, Jonathan tries to defend David. Saul gets angry with Jonathan, and it all goes downhill from there. But what we see here, as we look at this verse, and particularly we're looking at the wall, surprise, surprise. But what we're talking about here is you have to understand that when they talk about Saul sitting next to the wall, they talk about those next to him would be up against the wall. Their backs would be against the wall. Now, normally, the slogan or the little phrase for against the wall videos is, if your back's against the wall, it's got you feeling small, don't worry, there's a verse about that. In this case, it's not bad to have your back against the wall. If David would have been there, he would have been sitting next to the king. He'd been sitting with his back against the wall. And it really is a place of protection. Whenever I go into a place, especially like a restaurant, I like to sit with my back to the wall, facing the doorway, seeing who's coming and who's going. Because it's not paranoia when they're really out to get you. Okay, I'm just kidding. That's a different video for a different channel. But no, one of the reasons is because I can see the comings and goings of people, but it also gives me advantage because I know if something was to happen, I have a better advantage from where I'm at. I'm at a position of safety, and that was what it's doing here. Some of you all may be the same way. Another thing, sometimes you might walk by and you see people standing up against the wall, and you'll ask them, what are you doing, holding up the wall? Or they might tell you, hey, I'm holding up the wall. A little joke that people say. But the point is, they're just kicked back. They're watching things. They're observing what's going on. But they're really not involved. They're just kicked back against the wall. So it got me thinking, you know what? A lot of times we want to run headstrong towards a wall. And in a future video, we'll see where that didn't work out at all. But we want to run headstrong against the wall. We want to try to scale those walls. We want to try to run from those walls. But sometimes, God even allows us to be pinned against the wall to see if we will trust Him. But in other times, we just need to kick back and lean against the wall. Watch what's going on. Instead of trying to make things happen or to feel like we have to do something, sometimes God just wants us to sit back, because the safest place for us is with our back to the wall, where we can see what's happening, what's going on. We can observe the world around us, but at the same time being patient, waiting for God to tell us what to do next. Give it a try sometime. Just kick back against the wall and observe what's going on. It's amazing the kind of world you will see and the things you miss with all the hustle and bustle. So, when your back's against the wall and it's got you feeling small, Actually, don't worry about it. Just kick back and enjoy it and see what God has in store for you. And you might find you might have a little fun just holding up a wall. Anyway, that's all I got for you this time. I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time,